2022 voting session to order. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Colleen, will you please call roll?
Present.
Mr. Bloom,
Here.
Mrs. Spencer,
Here.
Mr. King,
Here.
Mr. Moab,
Here.
Mr. O'Neill,
Here.
Mr. Ross,
Here.
Mr. Zaritsky,
Here.
Ms. Belcastro.
Here.
As Dr. Perry said, we have two public comment periods. The first at the beginning of the meeting, which is coming up right now, is on agenda items. And then the one at the end could be on any matters that you want to bring to the board's attention. The board has adopted different policies governing public comment, and I'm just going to read a summary of that policy. The board recognizes the value to school governance of public comment on educational issues and the importance of involving members of the public at board meetings. The board also recognizes the responsibility for proper governance of the district and the need to conduct its business in an orderly and efficient manner. The district is asking that the following be adhered to while you're providing public comment. Each comment made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes, and that's without exception. No participant may speak more than once on the same topic, again, without exception. And all statements should be directed to the president of the board. No participant may address or question board members individually. And the board reserves the right to respond to any questions that are asked at the next board meeting. Failure to follow those requirements outlined by the board could result in terminating the time for the participant to provide a statement if it's too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, or obscene. A request that any individual leave the meeting when that person does not observe reasonable decorum. Request the assistance of law enforcement officers to remove a disorderly person when his or her conduct interferes with the orderly progress of the meeting, or call a recess or adjourn to another time when the lack of public decorum interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. It is the intent of the district to work with the school community on all school-related issues. However, the board has a right to and will enforce these reasonable expectations to conduct a meeting in an orderly fashion. Refusal to comply will not be tolerated. Also, I just want to announce that the board did hold an executive session at 5:30 immediately prior to this meeting to discuss personnel matters and to receive information. That's all I have.
Thank you. So move to public comments on agenda items.
Hello, everyone. Rachel Schwer. I'm really sorry I missed last week's meeting. I was in Deep Creek. So, and I unfortunately had to miss the open bids that you had on Tuesday. So I know that you're voting. It's on the agenda on accepting specific bids. And there is mention of specific alternates, but I would just asking before you vote, if you could just maybe rehash, kind of go over how we got to this point, if we're voting on the gym, or we're not at this point, like kind of, so I have a better understanding and everyone else here, what exactly you're voting on before you vote. I would just appreciate that. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna write my name down and that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Rich.
All right, thanks.
Any other comments?
Excuse me, my name is Steve Robinson, and I live at 205 York Court in Monaca. So first, I'd like to say thank you for your service, each and every one of you. I sit on a couple of boards myself, and I full well know it's not always an easy job. And so I appreciate your service. The reason that I do want to speak this evening is in regards to the budget, though. The last 2 years, if you couple the last 2 years tax increase that one proposed tonight, as well as last year, our taxes on the residents of Center Township will have risen just shy of 5.5 mils, 5.44 mils to be exact. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a recipe for disaster. a disaster for the residents, for the seniors that are bearing this tax load, as well as the budget, the school itself. Tax and spend cannot be your modus operandi. I hope that you've looked at other areas critically for cost reductions, for consolidations, because this is, I'm sure you're all residents of Center Township as well, I'm assuming. So we also, in addition to this 5.44 mills, we got another 1 mill increase from the township. Understand, that's not your business, but that's an impact on the residents. So I just implore each and every one of you to really look at the budget hard. And there needs to be a plan, a thought process for living within the means, as opposed to just tax add on to the burden that the residents are already sharing. And with that, that's all I have to say.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Steve. Appreciate it. Anyone else have public comment?
Comments?
Okay.
Moving on.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 1, to approve the voting session minutes from the May 19th, 2022 meeting, which can be found on attachment A. Do I have a motion? Mr. Bloom, second. Mrs. DeCenzo. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's report, Mr. King.
Following bills and reports are submitted for approval. Number 1, confirm the May 2022 general fund payments in the amount of $1,265,308.52, attachment B. Number 2, confirm the May 2022 cafeteria fund payments in the amount of $80,114.17, attachment C. Report number 1, to approve the May 2022 Berkheimer report, attachment D. I will make that motion.
I have a second. Mr. Ross. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Board policy. Number 1, to approve the appointment of Mr. Tom King as treasurer of the Central Valley School Board for a term of 1 year, July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, in accordance with sections 404 and 438 of the Pennsylvania School Code, yearly stipend of $250. Number 2, to approve permanent professional employees contract for the following employees in recognition of attainment of tenure status: Elena Bourne, Natalie Kondo, Chelsea Costello, Tiffany Gasparin, Jennifer Gribben, Candace Hill, Jessica Houston, Gabrielle Miller, and Julie Rosenstiel. Mr. Bloom, second. Mr. O'Neill, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I would like to abstain on number 1.
Pardon me?
I would like to abstain on number 1.
He's abstaining from, okay. Okay, sorry. You can't vote for yourself. I understand that. I'm sorry. So motion carries. Mr. O'Neill, there's nothing here.
Have nothing. at this
Anything?
time. Nothing going on.
Education, Mr. Ross.
Number 1, to approve, confirm the release time, staff development request. The conference and location is listed on the left-hand column. The individual that will be attending that conference is in the middle, and the dates on the right. 2, to approve the authorization of the administration to sell or dispose of obsolete textbooks with any monies being deposited in the general fund. 3, to approve an agreement with Interim Health Care of Pittsburgh Incorporated to provide skilled nursing services for supplemental nursing staff in Central Valley school buildings, field trips, and additional services upon request of the district for the 2022-23 school year at a rate of $50 per hour. Terms and conditions according to agreement. Attachment E. 4, to approve a memorandum of understanding with Psychological and Learning Center and Central Valley School District to provide school-based mental health services for the 2022-23 school year pending approval by the solicitor. Attachment F. 5, to approve outreach services contract agreement with the Western Pennsylvania School for the Blind Children at a cost of $110 per hour, subject to terms of the agreement beginning August 30th, 2022 through August 29, 2023, attachment G. So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Zaritsky, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Nothing in technology, thank you.
Mr. King, we are back with you with athletics.
Number 1, to approve the following fall coaching staff and stipends pending receipt, review, and acceptance of all clearances. The sport is in the left column. Center column is their title, and the right column is their stipend. Now, coaches, boys soccer, Jack Shear, girls soccer, Drew Bowman, girls volleyball, Candace Glumack, girls tennis, Dwayne Hardick, cheerleading, Heather Semavoski, girls golf, Craig Morris, boys golf, Craig Morris, cross country, William King, varsity football, Mark Lyons, 7th and 8th grade football, David Kramer, and middle school girls basketball, Natalie Kondo. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Moad seconds. Any discussion on any of those? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. No extracurricular. Okay. And moving to buildings and grounds. At this point, Mr. Badita, our architect, has a presentation that he is going to go through. There you go. Just for you, right? Just for you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Mr. Eimiller, is Mr. Padilla on?
He's on.
John,
Yes.
can you hear us?
I can.
Okay.
I'm going to move so you.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
All right, let me take it to presentation mode. Still good?
Yes. Ed, can we
Okay.
dim a little bit or not? Thank you, Ed. See that okay?
Yes, thank you.
Good to go, John.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for dialing me in to walk you through the results of the bids for Center Grange that we took bids on yesterday. Essentially, what we'd like to do tonight is walk you through a summary of the bids themselves, discuss some alternates, and then essentially pull all of the actual bid award, suggested bid award dollar amounts together, as well as there are other soft costs and contingencies and financing costs to arrive at a estimated total project cost, and then talk a little bit about, as the board proceeds with the next step, what we will be doing depending upon the board's action, and in terms of issuing the contracts for construction, permitting, and starting construction. So in terms of the actual review, let me make sure that's not showing up on your screen. There we go. So the classrooms, again, we bid the classroom as the base bid. That was the basis of the bid for all the projects. The gymnasium was bid as an ad alternate. So the base bid included the 16,000 square feet classroom addition that's connecting the two wings and creating a courtyard to support the kindergarten program. These are the actual bid results received from general construction. Bid was at $4.66 million. HVAC construction, a little over 560,000. Plumbing at 437,000, and electrical, a little over 1 million. So the base bid of all 4 prime contractors is 6,709,000. At this point, want to walk us through at least the preliminary discussion of the alternates and essentially what they include. Tower Engineering has identified, and from what we understood from the get-go, when the project was built in 2010, with a water source heat pump, they have a 10 to 15-year lifespan, and some of the heat pumps have already started to fail within the building. So this alternate encompasses 2 contracts. So the low bid total you see there includes the bid for the HVAC work and the electrical work on the power side to replace all of the heat pumps in the existing building. Okay, so there are 2 numbers there, the HVAC contract and electrical. That alternate represents a $700 and almost $8,000 actual bid. The next item that was included, talking through Director of IT, Ed, and the engineers to address the existing classroom AV equipment. So this is a pretty significant replacement of the AV system throughout the existing building with regard to audiovisual system, audio for hearing impaired children, and amplification of the Apple TV streaming devices for the learning tools. That low bid from the electrical contractor was $363,600. In response to the use of the existing multi-purpose room or the cafeteria, it was also recommended both by the engineers and admin team to look at a bid alternate to upgrade the system within the existing multi-purpose cafeteria. It would match the functionality of the system that was installed at Todd Lane with regard to projection, amplification, wireless microphones, and some other audiovisual equipment. That low bidder is $131,200. And the last alternate includes an upgrade and replacement of the security cameras, also located, as you see the building off to the left, the highlighted area. Again, these are alternates that affect the existing building area to replace all the security cameras and provide coverage of the interior of the entire building in this regard. So that low bid is $73,600. So just in terms of summary, here are the preferred alternates. Again, the heat pumps, which provide heating and air conditioning to all the spaces in the existing building. So there's an HVAC portion of the contract, and there's an electrical portion for the power side. Represents that first item at $707,000. The existing classroom AV system is $363,000. The cafeteria multi-purpose system is $131,000, and the security system that we just discussed is $73,000. So the preliminary total of alternates contemplated comes to a construction value of $1,276,370. So in terms of what does that mean in retrospect of the entire cost of the project? So again, here's kind of a high level project cost summary. So again, the base bid, which includes the 16,000 square foot classroom addition, is at $6.7 million. And again, that includes all 4 prime contractors and necessary site work. Tentatively, we're looking at about $1.2 or $1.3 million in alternates, which takes that subtotal of construction for the bid award just under $8 million at $7,985,570. So in addition to the construction cost that we've gone through the last year or so of planning, there are additional costs related to construction which include testing and inspection services, regulatory agency, and professional service fees. There are allowances for construction contingency, allowance for commissioning the project, fees for clerk of the works or additional job supervision, cost of financing, and then movable equipment and furniture. All of those things essentially equate to a $2.3 or $2.4 million construction soft cost, which brings this scenario of the award of the construction contracts with those selected alternates and the soft cost as shown brings us just to $10,372,000. So I'll hit this last slide and then we can go back to questions and answers. So tonight we're reviewing who the low bidders are and alternates for award. Solicitor has reviewed the bid packages and has agreed that the low bidders have met all the requirements of the bids that were submitted properly. So based on the board's action tonight, if you move forward with an award to approve those construction contracts and those dollar amounts, we will be issuing letters of intent to award to the potential low bidders either tomorrow or Monday, which triggers a time frame for contractors to submit various certificates of insurance and other bidding documents that we will also again review and coordinate with the solicitor and administrative team. And we did receive final approval for the NPDES permit this week, and we are just simply waiting for the administrative letter to allow us to acknowledge that all permits and approvals are in place from land development planning and review process, county conservation district, sewer authority, all of the agencies involved, the township, the building code review, the third party agency have all been satisfied. Once we have all reviewed the contractor's submission for their certificates of insurance, we will issue preliminary contracts for execution. And really the key takeaway is we would then be issuing the notice to proceed, which is a very specific contractual term in the contract documents that provides notice to contractors that they're to start work within 48 hours of the notice to proceed. And that can take many shapes of mobilization, just the paper and administrative work, pre-construction conference kickoff to bring all of the contractors together with the administrative team, review all of the site constraints, security issues, and start construction, which the contract documents have a 400 calendar day of construction for substantial completion. So the notice to proceed is a very significant item in terms of commencing with construction. So I'm happy to answer questions, go back to slides at this point.
John, can you cover the items of the project that are not being considered for a vote?
Sure. So one of the things that we realized after bid receipt, here you can see the costs associated that were submitted also by the low bid for the gymnasium alternate. And again, all four contracts are shown: general construction, HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. However, the Department of Ed has a limit based on the Public Act 34 hearing, which is based upon the numbers of students. There's a legislative dollar amount per student and a relationship to the size of the building and its cost. Unfortunately, we are over budget. And the gymnasium in particular, because of it being new construction, also the classroom addition is new construction, the combined total of both the classroom-based bid and the gymnasium exceeds the Act 34 limit, and also the 8% grace, if you will, that the state allows you. So the combined total of these two exceeded the Act 34 limit, which triggers a second public hearing. In addition to those alternates, Here is a summary of other items that were considered. The door access control. And again, you'll see some corresponding ones between the general construction and electrical, for instance. If you were to accept one, you must accept both, just like the heat pumps. There's an equipment installation, and then there's a power side, which are covered under 2 separate contracts. The roof structural steel, we have seen such a dramatic increase in steel cost that open steel bar joists have on previous projects been significantly difficult to get, especially if you have a shorter time frame of construction, which I would consider this project to be a shorter time frame. So we had the structural engineers develop an entirely different structural system to use steel beams. It's something that we do to test the water to see if the contractors are not able to get the open bar joist, which are included in the base bid. We simply float the idea, is there a cost savings to consider another structural system? As evidenced by this number, the only reason we would accept it would be if it was a deduct. Here it's a significant add. So this reaffirms that the steel bar joists that are in the base bid are the way to go. And the low bid general contractor has confirmed they have a steel order and they're fine and comfortable with the schedule. We also looked at a separate alternate to overlay the existing front parking lot. It's starting to show some signs of wear and tear and cracking. So with all of the other work on site, we wanted to explore the cost of overlaying the front parking lot. And then again, as you saw from the previous diagram, the classroom addition L-shaped configuration creates a courtyard just by virtue of continuing to allow daylighting into all the adjacent classrooms. That courtyard is a very important function. However, it becomes a little bit more difficult for maintenance. So the base bid project would be upon construction completion to simply seed it and there would be grass. This particular alternate, GC5, explored adding some additional hardscape surfacing to reduce the amount of maintenance in the courtyard. So again, by not accepting this alternate, it simply will be grass. We've covered the heat pumps under the HVAC and electrical. I talked a little bit about door access control. And then EC5, that would have been, if the gymnasium would have been accepted, we looked for an alternate to see what would be the cost to install a comprehensive audiovisual system in the new gymnasium. So again, if the gymnasium alternate to not construct that space is not selected, then this alternate would not apply as well. And then we've covered the other 2, cafeteria multi-purpose and the security camera system alternates.
Thank you, John.
Sure. So, I'll maybe just take us back to here, and any other questions or comments anyone has?
No.
Okay, so we are waiting for early confirmation next week to receive the final paperwork on the NPDS permit, which we've been told it has been approved. We would expect, so if anyone asks about specific time frame, I would expect that the letter of intent to award and contracts and review with the solicitor to take about a week to 10 days. Once we've secured our final permit, we would then issue a notice to proceed. So again, we would hope to issue a notice to proceed to start construction within the next 2 weeks, if not a shorter time frame. Time is critical. So the earliest we can allow contractors to starts that calendar of construction for 400 calendar days. So we want to be prompt and issue that as quickly as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, Mr. Zaritsky, we're going to move to you with your building and grounds.
Thank you. Number 1 is a motion to authorize the board to award construction contracts for proposed additions and renovations to the Center Grange Primary School for the general construction by Hudson Group Incorporated, base bid in the amount of $4,665,000. Number 2 is a motion to authorize the board to award construction contracts for proposed additions and renovations to the Center Grange Primary School, HVAC construction by First American Industries Incorporated, base bid in the amount of $560,000, and HVAC alternate HVAC2 heat pumps in the amount of $686,000. Total contract amount of $1,246,000. Number 3 is a motion to authorize the board to award construction contracts for proposed additions and renovations to the Center Grange Primary School plumbing construction by Vrabel Plumbing Company, LLC, base bid in the amount of $437,200. Number 4 is a motion to authorize the board to award construction contracts for the proposed additions and renovations to the Center Grange Primary School electrical construction by Merit Electrical Group Incorporated. Base bid in the amount of $1,047,000 and electrical alternate EC2 heat pumps in the amount of $21,900. EC4 existing classroom AV in the amount of $363,600. EC6 existing cafe multipurpose AV in the amount of $131,200. EC7 existing security cameras in the amount of $73,600. Total contract amount $1,637,370.
So move.
Okay, and do I
Second.
have a second for that? Mr. Ambrose? A discussion.
I'll start.
Okay,
Just real quickly here, just as most people know where I stand on this issue. I do respect all my fellow board members' opinions and passions. But my basis on this is that based on from where this started and where it's evolved, that I cannot support this amount of money going into the Center Grange School District with the amount of work that I feel we have at the middle school and the high school. Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Moab?
Like Mr. Zaritsky said, I do respect the work that the kindergarten team did in bringing this to us. I do believe all day, everyday kindergarten is going to be a positive for the district. I think there are many good things that will come of it for the community and the district. I also don't think now is the time to do it. We have a great number of deficiencies at the middle school and the high school at this point that we're all aware of. I believe we should continue to build our fund balance until we can better afford to address those issues that I think are of greater need. And that is based on the original feasibility study we did of all the schools. And I believe by doing this project, we're going to set back by at least 10 to 15 years all of the needs at those two schools. And I think that's going to become a very, very difficult issue in the coming years as those schools continue to age. That's all.
Anyone else?
Just by way of question, numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. Excuse me. This does not include any gym costs, correct?
That's correct.
Anyone else? Colleen, will you please do a roll call?
This is the action required on items 1 through 4. Mr. Bloom,
Yes, with a comment, please. Because of the delays in the process we endured over the last 2 years deciding about all-day kindergarten, we're now unable to undertake the whole Center Grange project, which would include the new gym at Center Grange due to the increased cost in construction materials and other costs. If we had moved on it back 2 years ago and we were started working on this all-day kindergarten project, we could have completed the whole project and done it all at a lower cost. So I vote for the project.
Mrs.
Call you.
DeSenza,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Mr. Moab,
No.
Mr. O'Neill,
No.
Mr. Ross,
Yes.
Mr. Zirinsky,
No.
Mr. Ambrose,
Yes.
Ms. Belcastro.
Yes. So yeah, we got motion carries.
Carry
All right,
6-3.
6-3. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Medea.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We'll be in touch and coordinate closely with Dr. Perry and the admin team and providing updates periodically. Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on, personnel, Mr. Bloom.
Get my addition right paper. Let me get my addition right here. Okay. Looking to approve the following personnel for extended school year pending receipt, review, and acceptance of all clearances. Teacher Jennifer Lupinacci at $20 an hour. Paraprofessional to pay her regular hourly rate, Susan Davis. Number 2, to approve the following personnel for band positions pending receipt, review, and acceptance of all clearances. The supplemental band and their instructors, the stipend is listed on the chart. Summer positions, their names are listed with their duties, and their stipend is listed on the chart. Number 3, to approve intermittent FMLA request for a custodian from June 17th, 2022 to June 16th, 2023. Number 4, to approve Brenda Stoyer as a school nurse, step 1 bachelor's degree in accordance with the CVEA agreement, effective August 23rd, 2022, pending receipt, review, and acceptance of all clearances. Number 5, to approve Megan Knight as a learning support teacher, step 2 bachelor's degree in accordance with the CVEA agreement, effective August 23rd, 2022, pending receipt, review, and acceptance of all clearances. Number 6, to approve Allison Idy as a learning support teacher, step 1 bachelor's degree in accordance with the CVEA agreement, effective August 23rd, 2022, pending receipt, review, and acceptance of all clearances. Number 7, to approve April Morocco as a guidance counselor, step 2 master's degree in accordance with the CVEA agreement, effective August 23rd, 2022, pending receipt, review, and acceptance of all clearances. Number 8, to approve Jean Ignatuck as a foreign language teacher, step 1 bachelor's degree in accordance with the CVA agreement, effective August 23rd, 2022, pending receipt, review, and acceptance of all clearances. Number 9, to approve a 3-year contract for Beth, how do you say that one? Lamarande, registered nurse, effective July 1st, 2022, a starting salary of $36,000. Number 10, to approve Emily Dinscher as a speech teacher, step 1 master's degree in accordance with the CVA agreement, effective August 23rd, 2022, pending receipt, review, and acceptance of all clearances. I so move.
Second.
I have a second.
Yes.
Mr. Zaritsky, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Ambrose, finance.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Number 1, to approve the adoption of the final general budget for the 2022-2023 school year. This includes revenues of $41,179,491 and expenditures of $40,217,784. Number 2, to approve the following supporting taxes/resolutions for the 2022-2023 school year. Real estate, 67.42 mills. That's an increase of 2.77 mills. Local services tax at $5 per person. Earned income wage tax, 1%, but the effective rate is 0.5% because we share that. The mercantile retail, 0.75. Mercantile wholesale, 0.5, and real estate transfer, 1.0. Effective rate for us is 0.5%. Number 3, to approve the appointment of the following as depositories for district funds. A, Cafeteria Fund, West Banco, Student Activities Fund, Central Valley High School, West Banco, Central Valley Middle School, West Banco, Todd Lane, West Banco, Center Grange Primary, West Banco. Number C, Capital Reserve Fund, Invest / West Banco. Item D, Payroll Account, PNC and Peasloff. Item E, General Fund, PNC, West Banco and Peasloff and Invest. F, Mercantile Fund, West Banco. G, Credit Union of CVSD, Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Number 4, to approve Resolution 2023-01, authorizing homestead and farmstead exclusion real estate tax assessment reductions beginning July 1st, 2022, under the provision of the Homestead Property Exclusion Program Act and the Taxpayer Relief Act, which is found on attachment H. Number 5, to approve the following insurance coverage policies provided through Jack L. Bonus Insurance effective July 1, 2022, which represents a 4.7 increase. And that's through Utica National for the commercial package, the business auto, and the umbrella at a premium of $122,945. Number 6, to approve the premium of $115,581 for workers' compensation insurance coverage with Housing Redevelopment Insurance Exchange effective July 1, 2022. That's a 5.4. Hang on, I lost it. That's a 5.4% decrease. Number 7, to approve the transfer of $905,726.57 from the debt service fund to the general fund. And number 8, to approve the transfer of $905,726.57 from the general fund to the capital reserve fund. So moved.
Second.
I'll second. Mr. Senzo, any discussion?
Yeah, do you want to, maybe just clarify what 7 and 8? Dr. Perry?
Yeah, so when we refinanced our bond recently, that is the savings from the refinance of the bond. That refinance money was geared towards capital improvements at the middle school, specifically the middle school roof. So that money is being moved out of the debt service fund into the general fund, and then from the general fund into the capital reserve fund, because that's where that money is geared for, the capital reserve project, which is the middle school roof.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are back to the second portion of public comments.
Hello, everyone again. Since I wasn't here last week, I just wanted to say thank you to Dr. Perry and the administration, teachers and staff for a great school year. Looking forward to a better one next year. I have both kids in the same building. And I know from watching the live stream last week, there was concerns expressed about school safety in light of the incident in Texas. And I usually the voice of dissent when I get up here. But I just wanted to take a moment to thank the district, because I don't ever feel that I'm sending my kids into a dangerous situation in our schools. Obviously, we can't keep everything out or predict everything or keep our kids in a little bubble as much as we would like to. But I have every confidence in our resource officers, police department, our teachers, staff, that they're going to keep my kids safe. So I just wanted to express that. So
For the kind words. I do want to echo a comment that you made with regards to, our entire school community, including our law enforcement, township officer, borough officers, They're here. There's things they're doing I can't even share with you. I will tell you this, they're here in a second. They have kids that go to these schools and they're very dedicated to what goes on there.
Anyone else? Okay, so Dr. Perry, we're with you.
I'd just like to welcome our new staff members that were hired tonight, officially welcome to the Central Valley family. Also like to thank our students, parents, teachers, board members, and our administrators for all the time and effort put into the interview process. It takes a lot of time, and I think we have 7 terrific new employees here in the Central Valley School District. So thank everybody for all their work.
Okay.
My loss.
We will do board comments. Switch it up here. Mrs. DeCenzo, anything for you? Mr. O'Neill?
Nothing, thank you.
I'd like to echo what Dr. Perry said about people involved in the interview and the time that they've spent, board members, administrators. Also, I'd like to thank the students who volunteered to come to those demo classes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, along the same vein, I think we have a great process when it comes to hiring. We have a lot of involvement, and I think it's very important, and that's why we've gotten great employees that have done a great job and really helped our students. So kudos to everyone that's spending that time, board members, staff, community members, and students. So thank you.
Mr. Ambrose?
I want to thank everyone who spent a lot of time the last 2 years making all-day kindergarten a reality. Furthermore, I don't think we have to walk around anymore and say we are the only school district in Beaver County that does not have all-day kindergarten. So very happy about that. And I thank everyone for their participation.
Mr. Zaritsky?
A couple things. Number one, there's obviously echo what everybody said, so I won't repeat that, cut things short. I do want to thank the administration, Dr. Perry, and Center Township Monaca Police Department. As to Dr. Perry made comments, there's certain things that cannot be discussed for security reasons, but it was instant. It was instant reaction, cooperation, 100% focused on making sure that there were not nerves, or that the nerves were calmed down as much as they possibly could be. I spent a lot of time speaking with Chief Kramer. I know Dr. Perry, and especially with kids in this district, that everybody comes together in the same thing with the Monaca Police Department at the middle school. That I do want to, regardless of opinions on what we are doing and with money, this board has made a decision to move forward with this project. I will support that, make sure that it is done. Chair of the Building and Grounds Committee and everything else like that. That doesn't, just because I didn't vote for it, does not mean that I'm not going to support it, that it is moving forward. We've always done that as a board. It is a decision of this board, part of this board, and we will all move together to make sure the project is successful. Other than that, I mean, just the whole end of the school year was fantastic. You can't thank enough of teachers, the staff, as Mr. King said, the students and everything, just all coming together, the ceremony, commencement, everything. So.
Yeah, kudos to the district for a good, successful school year. Safety is aspect. I watched the commencement exercises online, and I want to thank those who sat in on the interviews. I was on vacation. I couldn't be there, but everything I've read and heard from everyone said everything went well and they're satisfied with candidates. And I think we hired a good group. Thank you.
Mr. Ross?
Everybody else covered a lot of things I would say, but I'd like to welcome all the new hirees that we hired tonight, made it final. They've gone through the process. We have a real nice process. I agree with Mr. Moad. It says I've been through a lot of interviews through the years, not only here, but in another district. And I like the way this district conducts interviews, and you really weed them out. And I think up to this point, every time I see administrators that have the new teachers in their in their school district, in their schools. Everyone says we made a great hire. So that makes us feel good that the time and effort that we put in selecting these individuals. And it's tough. It's like we have some coming up this week. We had maybe for elementary, we had 100 applications, and you narrowed it down to maybe 26. Now you're going to interview those 26 and you're going to now narrow that down to maybe 6 or 7. And it's a shame that you have to narrow it down like that, but you have to do something to make it workable. And there's so many good applicants out there and a lot of good people. And we've been very fortunate here at Central Valley in hiring some really good people. And I like the process that we do here, and we will continue to really vet these people as best as possible to make it for our kids. And that's what we're here for, is the education of our children that we have in Central Valley. And I think up to this point, we've done a heck of a job in making good selections.
I'm sorry. I just selfishly, I'm going to take a minute as a parent. I had my 4th child graduate from this district a couple of weeks ago. Just want to thank everyone that has been involved in their education, all 4 of my children's educations, teachers, administration, nurses, coaches, trainers, custodians, lunch staff, everyone. I could not have asked for a better experience for all 4 of my children and to get them ready for the real world. So I just want to say thank you as a parent. So being selfish and taking a minute there.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you for a great school year. I'm like you, Rachel. I hope next year is a wonderful year. I just wanted to go back to the way it used to be, the way it used to be. So on that note, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. Mr. Moat, second by Mr. Ambrose. All in favor?
Aye.